Well, what is up, guys? Welcome to the Flipside.
Welcome to the Flipside.
I am Jason.
I'm Eric, and it's been a while. We've been together.
It's been a while.
Is that a song, or did you just make that up?
No, it's a song.
Oh,
I think the band is Stained.
Okay, I believe you, because you know way more music, and you're way cooler. Hey, good to be back with you.
You too, my man. By the way, if I'm wrong about that reference, just put it in the
chat. Are they going to say, just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Just pretend I said what it was.
Hey, man, you want to hop right into it?
Let's hop right in. Let's jump on the flip side.
I'm diving in. I'm going deep. Yeah,
because that's 90s worship.
I didn't bring it back to All right, Eric, how can I talk to my friends about living by faith and not by a system? I have some friends who judge my faith because I'm not super liturgical in my practices.
Interesting. Not super liturgical. So I'm going to assume that this person is talking about a relationship with their Christians, and I'm going to go with two things. One is I would talk about what you're for. I know we keep coming back to this, but talking about what you're for. How are you experiencing a growing relationship with Jesus? What is helping you in your faith journey? How are you serving others? Talk about what you're for. And then the second thing is, if it comes to that, or you feel like you need to respond in a humble way, I think you could just acknowledge that over the last 2,000 years, in lots of different countries, the gathered church gatherings have looked differently. Yeah. It's just looked different. So there's not one prescribed way churches should operate. That liturgical, those liturgical practices that your friend loves, they're not in the Bible. They're helpful. They're great. We can all grow in our appreciation of liturgy, and we all have a certain liturgy. But I think you just say, hey, 2,000 years, lots of different countries, lots of people groups, it's looked different a lot of times. Yeah. So that's what I would say.
All right, and I love this next question. Eric, what can I do when a Christian refuses to reconcile?
What can I do when a Christian refuses to reconcile? I heard it said a few years ago that the point of forgiving someone who's offended you is to be so forgiving and accepting of them that if they ever want to reconcile, you're ready to do it. Wow. That you're ready. Because oftentimes, here's what happens. Someone is hurt, right? So you have someone who's hurt, and you have someone who's offending. And the hurt person is so hurt that when the offending person finally wants to reconcile, they're so caught up in their hurt that they can't receive the reconciliation. The challenge is to be so forgiving, to lay it down that you will be ready when they come back. Because you can't force them to come back. Yeah. You can't force them. I'm telling you, if this is a real hurt, I would come to Celebrate Recovery and I'd get in a step study. Mm-hmm. I have done a step study, and they will walk you through how to do this really step by step. So that'd be my encouragement. That's a great question.
Eric, how would you know if you embracing a faith? How would you know if you're embracing a faith system rather than the object?
Yeah, I would go back to what we were talking about, just love. If you're loving, I can't love you if I see if I can't love people, not you in particular, but I can't love someone who is doing something different than how I think it should work if I'm not loving Jesus more than I'm loving how I think things should work. And that's true for all of us, right? Yeah. Democrat, Republican, black, white, rich, poor, whatever. For all of us, we're called to love one another. And it's hard because people are idiots sometimes.
Sure, 100%.
But my whole like the faith system of following Jesus, not my human one, but Jesus one, is all about love and grace and forgiveness. Good. So, man, that's how you know if you're not loving towards especially people you disagree with. Yeah, and
Eric, I just feel and what Jesus calls us to is, like you said in your message today, is so unique because it really requires us to love everyone, especially those who we just like. It's easy to characterize, put someone in the category, put someone over there. They are all those. They believe this. You know what? These people are. This political affiliation is always, and that's just not. People are complex.
Yeah, it's easy for me to love you because we get along, we like each other, mutual respect, all that. But It's when there's someone whom I really disagree with, like, can I be loving? That's how I know. Am I building my life on my faith system or the object of my faith, Jesus? Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing, we've touched on before, is let's always remember that everything in the broader news media is built on giving you an enemy to fear, because that's what sells clicks and advertising. If that's what we cannot, the church can, we just have to be aware of that. It doesn't mean that everything is false that you see in mainstream media, but it does mean that their agenda is not love and grace and compassion and listening. That is not the case. And so just recognize that.
I'm going to take this one step further.
Ooh, one step further.
Because it's. I think the media does a great job of being divisive and using fear.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I hate to say this, but if you're part of a church, if you're part of a church that has this sort of rhetoric of fear.
Oh yeah, it's definitely in churches too, for sure.
Wolf in sheep clothing. No.
Anytime a church is mostly or all one political party or one social issue, that's their main thing, it should just be a danger sign.
Yeah.
Like, I love that we have so many different views in our church, and I don't ever want us to lose that.
Sure.
And I just have to be careful that my views, because my views are going to leak out sideways, that I create space for people to disagree and to feel loved and heard. So, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Eric, is there ever a time that division is called for and required? How do I identify situations that call for unity in spite of a disagreement versus situations that call for actual division?
It's good. When is division necessary? Division in the church around Jesus, like the person of Jesus, salvation in Jesus' name. And then I would say unrepentant sin. When someone's cast the immoral brother out in 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians, we're called, if someone's in unrepentant sin, to separate from those believers. But it's never about their view on a political candidate or a social issue. That's not it. Theologically around Jesus and sin in their lives, unrepentant sin, those would be the only times we should disagree. So,
Eric,
divide. Excuse me.
Are you gonna have another? Man, I feel like can I ask you a question in response to that?
Sure, of course.
Response to that question. So, what would you say to the individual or individuals who would classify certain things as divisive because it needs to be? Like, this is just unbiblical. Like, it is like all you liberals or all you Republicans, like liberals are whatever.
Yeah,
like,
it's good.
When someone takes.
Let's take CRT.
Sure.
Let's just take one that people may have an opinion about.
That's a good one.
Okay?
That's a good one.
There are people who believe CRT is a useful sociological tool to understand why the world works the way it does, and there are people who would say CRT is always evil and should never be used. It's not neither of those perspectives have anything to do with Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of God, and finding life in his name, or about personal sin someone is committing. Yeah. So we have to be able to disagree and not divide around CRT. And when we elevate something that's a second-tier issue to a first-tier issue, that's where we go wrong. We make it a part of our faith system. I'm not saying to not have strong opinions. I'm not saying to not make, decisions based on those or vote or whatever. But we have to stay united around Jesus.
That's good.
And so I would say, and we could take any other social issue. There are things. Here's the thing: the reason people believe what they believe is that they think it's right and they think it's best, and that's good. You should think that.
Yeah.
But that's why we have to let the text of Scripture say what is essential. And John wrote, these are written so that, I'm just coming back to it, you can believe Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and life is found in his name. We have to land there in our unity and then lovingly disagree. So, yeah, there you go. I'm a one-trick pony.
Well said, my man. I'm just going to just...
Let's do the last one, and let's make it a new segment.
New segment.
So, sabbatical Q&A. We can wrap up every time there is a Flipside. Every time there is a sabbatical question, serious, and this is a great, not hard. This is a pointed question. I love it. Do not be afraid to ask pointed questions. There's no secrets, nothing going on here.
And
so,
by the way, just to, for those who are watching now or listening on via playback, if you may or may not know, but this man right here will be going on sabbatical.
Yep, May 9th.
May 9th.
Yep.
And so yes, that is happening. And so this question is regarding that.
Why don't I? Should we do the question first, or should I do sabbatical overview first? What do you want to do first?
Let's do the overview.
Okay, overview.
Yeah.
So what is a sabbatical? Pastors and academics that's the place where we see sabbaticals most often. Pastoral sabbaticals are centuries and centuries years old. And the idea is to have an extended Sabbath. So Sabbath, sabbatical, same root word. And it's a season to rest and focus on the Lord. So it's not a vacation. It's a time of intentionally set apart, dedicated to God. And so I'm going May 9th to like August 4th. The elders came to me about a year and a half ago and they said, Eric, we'd like to offer you a sabbatical. It was 2020, middle of the pandemic. So we said, hey, let's pause, talk about it next year. They brought it back up again, August of 21. And then I put together a plan. It took me about 5 months to talk and research and talk with other pastors and read online and put together a plan. I submitted a plan to them. They said, this looks good, change this, have this, not that. And then we came up with this 3 months and blah, blah, blah. The theme for my sabbatical is leaning into what it means for me to be a child of God apart from my role as a pastor, because that's something that can get confused. And the key verse for my sabbatical is love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And so I took those 4 categories, and the divisions I came up with are a tad artificial. I said heart, that represents my family, the people closest to me. Soul, my relationship with Jesus. Mind, obviously mind, and strength, physical body. So in my heart, I'm going to do a trip with each of my family members. I'm really looking forward to that. They got to pick that trip. I'm going to do a counseling intensive for my soul. I'm going to go meet with a Christian former pastor. His name's Chuck DeGroat. He's a former pastor, he's a college professor, he's a counselor. So I'm going to go submit to him for a week of intense counseling because I know that the best thing I can bring to our church is a healthy Eric. And I'm going to meet with a spiritual director. I'm going to allow Chuck to guide sort of my mind input, that piece of it. And then for the strength, I'm going to rest. God's provided a really unique way for me to learn some tennis skills, which I've always wanted to do. Nice. And so that's sort of the big overview. And so as you have questions, email them in anytime and we'll address them. But we got a great question here.
Yes, that is right.
That we just want to answer. It's a great question.
So the question is, how are all the vacations you're going on with your family getting paid? Have you saved up for them, or is the church paying extra money during your Sabbath?
Yeah, during my Sabbath, during my sabbatical. So for just little nuance, it's just important to keep saying it's not a vacation, it's a sabbatical, because those really are different. And sabbaticals are just a normal, we haven't done them here at Grace a lot, but it's a very normal pastoral thing to do, not a vacation. So I came up with a plan. I submitted my plan to the elders, and they said, hey, Eric, we're going to give you this lump sum of money, and you can use it. And then if you want to go over that, that's on you. So I am getting my full salary for the sabbatical, and they have given me a lump sum of money to use as I saw fit in the context of the plan. Like, they approved the plan, all that sort of stuff. And said, hey, if you want to go beyond what we're giving you, you can do that, or you can live within what we've given you. So great question. That's how it's being funded. And I look forward to future sabbatical questions. And I realized I'm preaching every Sunday between now and my sabbatical. So I'll be here with you every week. I'm like, dang, that wasn't very smart.
Well, you're just...
Maybe it was.
I kind of want to speak to something just directly. And you're going to do a fantastic job in the next couple of weeks.
Go for it.
This. But for anyone who has been in the church before, maybe experienced church hurt or maybe some toxicity within that community, I can tell you, I can speak firmly that this sabbatical is not a result of
Oh, we should have said that. Thank you. Yeah, keep going. We should have said that. We should have led with that.
Yeah, like Eric's not leaving because of result of like some sort of habitual sin. Like his marriage is not on the rocks. Like whatever. Like he's not burnt out. It actually should be more of a normal.
It's what it should be,
Yes.
which is a time to rest, not rehab. Right?
Yes.
It's like it's not get injured and then rehab. Yes, that's thank you for saying that. Yeah, there's no, and in fact we have a handful of open positions right now. My daughter's leaving for college. She gave me kisses. Love you.
Bye, AC.
We have a handful of open positions, and somebody said, "Are you going to still do your sabbatical?" I said, "Yeah." Like the health of our church is shining because we have these open positions, and I'm still going, and it's like people are going to get the work done. So, yeah. So anyway, bring them in. We can do this as a feature every week in the Flipside.
Love that.
Sabbatical Q&A. So, we good?
I think so. Let me just take a look. Yeah, those are all the questions. Hey,
All right.
thank you so much for submitting your questions. If you have more questions along the way throughout the week, you can feel free to submit them. We will get to them as soon as possible. Stay connected with us via all of our platforms. At this point, hopefully you should know that by now. If not, GFam on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Guys, we will see you right back here after all the services. Until then, we will catch you
On the flip side.